Episode 50, Catflap Chats. Somehow we've made it this far. I don't know how, because I'm fucking winging a lot. But delighted today to have a couple of mates on, doing some things in rugby, doing some bits outside of rugby as well. Mr. Dom Day and George Kruis, owners of FourFive CBD, rugby player internationals. They've done a load of other stuff as well. Nice to have you on board, gents. And what is going on in your world?
George, I'll let you take that away because your story's a lot more interesting than mine.
I'm confused as you introduced us as mates.
Oh, it's gonna be one of these pods, is it? I better shout it out.
No. I've actually seen it. I've seen too much of you, to be honest. What's going on in our world? Recently moved to Japan on a personal level.
Yeah.
I've been here for 7 days trying to figure out how to use a Japanese microwave. That's been the entirety of the whole time so far. And then just trying to settle in. Other bits, we've got a company going which we're pretty happy about. And that's pretty much my life in a shell right now. I've got a year, maybe two out here. Then I'll come back. Ideally, play another year or so and see where we can get to on that front. Good
man. Dom, what's going on with you, boy?
Still living across the bridge, still living up in London. Obviously retired a year ago, so I am full-time selling, in the business, obviously a CBD company. I don't know if you mentioned that, but full-time, exciting times. Just trying to get everything ready because we're going back into the lockdown soon. So, it's got its own challenges.
Pain in the ass, that is. I won't go too much today into sort of your rugby backgrounds. Obviously, George played out of Japan now. Dom tapped on the head. Could have had that one last go in San Diego, pal. I'm still gutted about that, to be honest. But I fancy the trip. You guys obviously met at Sarries. Take us through that journey from you guys sort of playing at Sarries together into what FourFive CBD is and how it came about.
Let me start a bit earlier than that because
this is bullshit. Whatever comes out of this mouth now, maybe we can cut whatever it is.
When I was playing at Bath, a young blue-eyed boy, I went on holiday to Croatia. And obviously, I played against Kruis quite a bit. I was like, Kruis, I really respect him. He's such a great guy. I just hope he likes me off the pitch. It just turns out that Kruis was in Havar as well, in Hula Hula, which is one of the beach bars out there. And I see him across the way and give him a little wave, and Kruis just absolutely blanked me. Just absolutely blanked me. Didn't even come over to say hello.
No, I asked for a drink. I thought you were the waiter. That is not true. That's absolute spice. But anyway, fast forward, 2 years? 3 years?
Yeah. And
I'll tell you, it's better than when I went to Dubai Sevens. I thought, because my brother, supported me around the world. I'm massively grateful for him. I go to Dubai Sevens to support him for one good time. And I come up to the stadium and I come out of the entrance into one of the stands and I look across and I see a guy in budgies, 2 hands in the air. I think it was singing to Bon Jovi or something like that. I just thought, who is that? I look a bit closer and it's Fat Mike.
I was having the best time of my life.
Yeah, it's good crap.
It was one of those buy 12 cans and go back 4 hours later to try and buy some more. Good times.
Anyway, we've gone well off subject here, so
right.
So I guess
no more Judasing. Judasing done. We're back on.
To get back to it, so I signed for Saracens after having a little jaunt abroad. And obviously George and I became good mates. My job at the time was sitting on the bench and giving Kruis a bit of a breather towards the end of the game. But we built a bit of a bond, and so much so that we decided to go into business together. And we built what we've got now, which is a very creative name for the business, which is FourFive. And yes, the crack is it should be like 419 or 423, 424, whatever.
Yeah.
So we're 2 years into our business lives together now, and it's a good crack, eh, Kruis?
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant. I've learned a lot more than I have in the last 2 years than about real world stuff. Just an incredible amount of learning to do. Like we're clearly not we're nowhere near proper businessmen, but we've learned a lot, and there's actually a shitload you can take from kind of what the environments we've been in, the team environments, the way that professionals treat each other on a respect level, and hopefully that's kind of trickled down into our team. So I think we've got a lot that's really good about the company. Clearly some bits like guidance and here and there, and that's I guess why we've worked incredibly hard on making sure that our investors that come on board are really really interested in helping us grow. They're well connected. They're active investors, but also we've taken the time to try and select a pretty good team, and we've got some good consultants on board, and I think rugby players, athletes in the whole understand that we're quite good at learning, and that whole feedback loop that's done like every week is something that's ingrained in us. But I think we're pretty open to say where we fall short as well. So that attitude I think has kind of got a lot more people on board that maybe they might not have been on board if we came in with a different approach of well, we know everything, where clearly we don't. So it's good. Like we're learning loads, and I think for me that's massively exciting. I think we're both quite curious people in terms of wanting to learn more and get involved in what is our future.
It's interesting because obviously you're both well travelled, and you're both been doing this a long time, where you know the ways of the world outside of your own little bubbles from back home. But what did you actually know about business before sort of starting this? You don't just wing things like this and make them successful. You have got to have a bit of nous behind you. And what did you know before sort of starting the journey?
You're right. Like you can't wing it. I think one thing that makes up for the lack of knowledge that we have like in the actual business world is just the fact that we're willing to like work so hard, and we're willing to learn, because listen, we've made probably every mistake, even though we knew these mistakes, like people warn us about mistakes in business and whatever. We've made every single mistake there is to make, and it's probably cost like quite a bit of money, but because we've got the right people to like help us get on track, we feel like super lucky. But like, I mean, mate, we went to uni together like 15 years ago. I came out of uni with a 2-2 in sports coaching.
Same.
And
sport and PE, I think mine was.
And I guess the not that I'm a person to give advice, but like the one thing that I'm so glad we did was just like we actually did it. I think I feel like I've had so many like amazing ideas in my life but like the fact that we just like let's just do it, and like not like we always knew that it might not go the right way. Luckily at the minute it is going the right way, but we just did it. But whilst doing it, we gave it our all as well. We are still giving it our all, and just like get in touch with the right people, like as George mentioned there, like the people around us in rugby are more than happy to like, help. And like, but again, it's just about going and asking for that help.
I think we live in a society where people are scared to go and try it in case they fail, and actually I'd rather fail trying than not have tried at all. I know that's really cliche and wanky, but it is true as well. So tell the guys, I see loads of people on Facebook, and fucking that's probably the wrong place to look, but loads of people recommendations for CBD and best company, all this other bollocks that people chat shit about on Facebook. What is FourFive CBD? What is CBD? Why should people potentially consider it in their lifestyles? And how can, that's 3 questions to start with. We'll go with that for now.
We'll deal one at a time. What was the first one?
What is FourFive CBD? So what do you guys do? What can you bring to the market? What are you bringing to the market?
Yeah, I think it's like CBD clearly like a real big hype word at the moment. And with bits like that, there's loads of companies that will just jump in quite quickly for either a quick buck and then jump out. And I think for us, it's always been around, as tested athletes, it's been around producing a good quality product, but producing it in a way that we're comfortable to advise and to I guess use it ourselves. So we've got a professional range that is tested by a banned substance control group called BSCG in America. Yeah. And they'll test for what's necessary, all the banned substances. But I guess how we set our stall out, we want to be a top quality CBD brand that shows good provenance of where our product's from and how it's made and the testing that goes into it.
Were you guys using it yourselves before starting this up, and that's what gave you the idea?
Yeah, so like we both started using it around the same time, which was like CBD got taken off the banned list. Is that a beer?
It's not. I wish I was cool enough. Oh, are you talking about me? Or?
I've got a non-alcoholic Tiny Rebel just because it's lunchtime and I got shit to do after.
But yeah, so 2018 CBD was taken off like the banned list at the start of 2018, and it was around the time where like obviously coming towards the end of my career, my body was in pieces and was on to like my second or third operation on my knee, and like I was just looking for different recovery methods really, and a long story short, like just stumbled across CBD, gave it a go, and for me like it just sort of cut my recovery time in terms of like I'd done similar recoveries before, and it sort of cut recovery time in terms of getting back to playing, and like George at the same time. Well, George, I'll let you tell your side of it.
What now?
Right now.
I think there's a lot of people saying like he'll do a load of stuff. I'm a big believer in. I think it will be a long-term supplement that everyone will be taking in. 5-10 years, it will be a standard one. For me personally, I find it helps me sleep a bit better. I feel like you take it and you will feel like a little bit calmer, and off the back of that, sleep is the key for recovery. So that's what I find quite useful. We get a lot of people around, around more long-term pain or chronic pain. The main reasons when we've done surveys have been pain, sleep, and kind of anxiety. But I guess as a company or a company owners, we've got our hands tied in terms of what we can and can't say because of we're a food supplement company as such. But I'm a strong believer that I think in the next kind of 5-10 years, supplements like these will be every day, and there's just a much wider look into more natural alternatives, and I think this is it's got a lot of substance behind it, and there's a lot of research that's turning a lot of anecdotal stuff, evidence into hard evidence, which is like massively exciting. So you look at CBD, you also look at a much wider topic of medical cannabis, which they're not related, but in terms of trends, it's massively exciting where this whole area is going, and the acceptance and education around these sort of subjects are really coming through the roof. And I guess it's on us to try and produce the best quality product, so that if people do want to take CBD, they do want to try it, then we put them in a good enough position to do so.
I like the fact that you guys have got that blog on the website as well, which a load of the questions I keep seeing on social media are answered in that blog. And one of the biggest things I see is the perception around it. So is it legal? What's in it? Can people take it and stuff? So just try and your target on the one part is obviously athletes with the tested range or tested workers, so it could be services or whatever. But on the other side, a lot of people who listen to this will be average Joes like me, 9 till 5s, try and do a little bit of sport if they're active at all. How will it? I know you can't. There's no medical claims you can give, but why should someone in that environment potentially start looking to CBD, and what should they look for when they're looking at different companies?
Yeah, like first of all, our target market, although we made the company because we wanted to give like safe products to professional athletes, because we knew that there was like, well, just from the little research we did at the time, there was like at least five people in every English club, elite anyway, using CBD.
Yeah.
Like we weren't comfortable ourselves with the safety of like the products that were on the market.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like why we did it initially. But like we want to help anyone who's trying to live like an active lifestyle. So like you say yourself, who wants to go out and play five-a-side football, or like we have people, you know, who just like, a lot of yogis use our products, for example. Like anyone, like people who just go for a jog after a day in the office, but want to like help them sort of get that extra, how to put it, just relief, so that they can go out and like just exercise or be active.
A little bit of recovery.
Yeah, exactly, and recovery afterwards. But like, in terms of like what people should be looking for, like there's just a couple of key things, is like testing certificates, like third-party testing certificates, and like they should be easily accessible. George Wells.
Yeah, our golf places of just do your own research around. There has to be third-party certificates, but just try and understand the brand a little bit in terms of, are they there like for a short term, or are they there to, you know, try and make a good enough difference long term? And you know, people get a good judge for that. There are, you know, we pride ourselves on that sort of stuff, but there are other, you know, very good reputable CBD companies around as well. So it's just picking the right one, and not you know, not the one from the lad down the road who's made it in the back garage trying to make a bob. So
yeah,
pick the right one, but pick us.
FourFive CBD.
Not a salesman.
There's
other people's products.
I've seen quite a few people like argue the toss around the THC part of it. What is that, and what should they be looking for?
Yeah, so to put it simply, CBD is a medicinal part of the plant, and has no sort of mind-altering effects. So it doesn't get you high. THC is like what gets you high, and that's like what people would perceive as like hippies back in the day, like smoking joints. The THC is what will get you high.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of different ways to look at it. Like there is a small amount of that is allowed in products at the minute. With our products, we totally strip that out. So we have what's called a CBD isolate. So it's just CBD. And we see that as kind of the safest way to do it, rather than like, obviously, like particularly with athletes, like you can't be messing around with having sort of trace amounts. Like, it's people's careers online at the end of the day. So there is arguments that the THC, even in small amounts, can have beneficial effects, but it's just weighing up the risks, I guess, and whether like CBD has many sort of medicinal benefits as well.
Nice, I like that, mate. What are there any sort of myths, or did you have much resistance from maybe some of the governing bodies in terms of sports and stuff, where they might not have known enough and thought it was a bad substance?
So we did a good job of keeping them informed the whole way through the process of what we're doing, how we're going about doing it, you know, and they're ultimately as eager to learn as we are, because if there's something better out there than, you know, than the current states, then absolutely that's something they want to learn and know more about. And also, like, if there's a company that wants to do it well, and, you know, and wants to communicate this, then they've been all up for helping. So yeah, I was really involved with you know, the RFU and clubs. Our club has been brilliant in terms of helping out with contacts and just making sure that we're on the right path. But I think our guidance was always to try and be as open as possible, let everyone know what we're doing, and kind of just share what we're learning as well, because ultimately there's no point in trying to hide stuff.
No, that's good. I mean, I know more research is being done, and obviously you can't make claims around people's treatments and stuff, but from my personal experience, my sleep has been better. Like Dom said, there's little recovery niggles and stuff, don't feel them as much. And I know you guys got a load of different products now as well, so it's not just the oil. Tell us about some of the products that you've got out at the moment.
We've got some, so the oil in tinctures, so that's a spray head and pet. But we've also got some like a muscle rub that's infused with some other bits like menthol and so on because obviously those in themselves have got decent properties that can help out. So we want to try and pair together some well-known and I guess tried and tested methods into like a muscle rub, or we've got a joint gel which has a heat sensation, much like a deep heat with CBD.
Yeah.
And then we've got some ones like effervescence tabs, so like a multivit with CBD, and also our balms as well. So we've got a wide range. I think our capsules and our tinctures are the kind of the best sellers and the best absorption rates. But definitely when they're paired up, or like the topicals are paired up with things like menthol and arnica and so on, then they become quite useful as well.
I've seen a big thing in the press about vitamin D3 at the moment as well. I know that you guys have got some stuff around that. Why is that so important?
Well, vitamin D is beneficial for like muscle function, like normal muscle function, and bone health as well. Like it's got a heap of beneficial properties about it, and also like the immune system, helps boost the immune system. So like it's actually funny because we'd actually been developing that product over like 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
Like way before like the current environment being sort of COVID and whatever kicked in. So like you said, there's a lot about vitamin D in the press at the minute, but we see it as like a really good product. It's actually quickly become, we only launched maybe a month ago, it's quickly become like one of our best sellers. So it's quite an exciting product, like CBD blended with vitamin D, getting benefits from all angles.
To the people. What's away from the products then for a bit? What's that transition been like? Probably more so for Dom, who's now full time in the business. George, you're obviously still playing. What was that transition like from sport into business, and how is that affect kind of your life and your mental side? Because you still see people say not enough's done for people when they're finishing those pro careers, and more could be done. How have you found it?
Yeah, like I feel so like super lucky to have had this to go into. Like for the last 5 years of my career, like I always knew that I needed to prepare, and like I thought I was well prepared. And then I guess it was only like a year before I retired that we started this. And now I'm like, what on earth would I have done if we didn't pull the trigger on this and do it? Because like, I honestly just don't know. Like I couldn't have played on anymore because like my body was just hurting so bad. Even though like you mentioned, I had actually signed a 2-year deal in San Diego. So like I was sort of prepping to go out there, but like my body was just hurting so bad that I was just like, I can't do it anymore. And I was like, lucky I had this to go into, but I was like, what if I didn't have this? Like I probably would have just gone out and like tried to play through it, which isn't where I want to be. As like, you don't want to be in that place as a player really, because like you want to be giving the best account of yourself. But yeah, like this has helped me in terms of transition, but like I totally agree. Like it's difficult at the minute. Like I think that whole subject's been heightened in terms of like helping athletes post post-careers and during their careers with like the COVID situation. Like you're seeing pay cuts like left, right and centre. Like I saw the other day that below like the cutting the season next year in England for everything below championship or something like that. And it's just like some of those players get paid like cash that will be like helping them like every month. And like players' contracts are getting cut. Like some clubs are struggling massively, and it's just like such a scary world at the minute. Like, and I know like when you look from the outside, that rugby players, you're like these you know, or athletes in general, you're like, oh, you know, like look at them, they get paid a heap of cash and like
the dream,
whatever. But like, I was only looking the other day that and this is in England, which would probably be higher paid. Like the average wage is like 90,000 a year, right? Which is fucking good money, right?
Yeah.
But then like people will just have their eyes on like the people, like the top players who like they're the people who get brought up in the press all the time, who are on like 500 grand, 600 grand, whatever. But the average wage is like 90 grand. And then I'd imagine Wales is less than that.
Yeah.
But then like cross that over with the fact that the average length of a rugby career is 7 years.
Is it?
So, yeah. So like when you look at that, and the fact that players are not preparing properly for after sport, like it's quite a scary thing, because like 95% of players are not on like 500 grand, 400 grand, 300 grand. They're on like 90 grand, 100 grand for only 7 years of their life. I'm not preparing for post sports. So I think it's a massively important subject, and something that like people are doing. There is processes in place like the RPA, the WRPA, but I think the focus needs to be on forcing players to like prepare, because like I was lucky. I thought, I'd dabble in a bit of property here and there and I'll be fine. But like if I didn't have FourFive, like I think I don't know where I'd be, especially mentally. That's a whole nother subject, I guess.
Yeah, of course. George, what's your sort of transition like? I mean, you're coupling rugby with full-time business and actually moving abroad as well. How have you found that sort of lifestyle change?
Yeah, I think part of the whole Japan play was, you know, I have one eye on business bits. A Japanese season is 7 months long. Therefore, there's 5 months where you can do a lot more stuff. So it's a massive attraction, that, as well as, you know, a number of different things. But I think I'll back up Dom's point. There's some horrible statistics around depression around, you know, for retired players. I think it's around 60% or so. And you look at that, and there's an absolute sense that players need to do more themselves. They need to be like less lazy. They need to be more proactive. But it is, you know, it's one of those things where you commit yourself, and you commit yourself pretty fully to you know, to being a professional rugby player or so. And it's quite easy to not really have one eye on, you know, on the future, or there's an excuse there not to have one eye on the future, because it might be taking, you know, that eye off playing the best you possibly could. So I think the thing that I've found is I think that's a myth that definitely needs like pulling apart. I think the more, you know, I've done a good chunk of business as well as playing, and you know, it's not like we're just you know, the faces or whatever. We're knees deep as such. So
yeah,
the ability to do both, I think, has given me a lot better view on a lot of different topics that I wouldn't even have considered. You know, the ability to meet some unbelievably talented people in their own industries. You know, the heads of large companies, and get advice from them. As much as it, you know, the rugby's helped the business, I really do think in a non-cliche way, the business and the meetings and the I guess the learnings can also help the rugby. So for me, I think that's the earlier you can start, the better. But yeah, I think we're massively interested in this as a subject as whole, and we are launching some bits in the next kind of 3 or 4 weeks, which we might go into. But and a large part of that will be around, you know, how we can help athletes who are in business, who are currently athletes. You know, how we can share our network that we've spent the last couple of years really building out, and we've got an unbelievable network. Like we're really proud about it as well. And we've spent a long time kind of getting the right people on board who are really eager to help athletes in general. And I think there's, like I said, that myth of kind of, you're going to go out and 60% of people are going to be in a pretty dark place. I think that can be completely turned around if people look into these sort of things a little bit earlier. And to do that, sometimes they just need a good nudge or a little bit of a grease on the wheels,
Yeah, of course. You both mentioned there about sort of mental health and depression, and how I suppose how easy it could be for someone to fall down that road. What do you guys do personally in terms of rugby does come with unbelievable highs, especially the success at Sarries, and won't go too much into what's happened in the last 12 months, but how do you pick yourselves up from those horrific injuries? Dom, you've retired now, and just some of the lows that come with that. How do you process that and get through it so you're not stuck in that rut as such?
It was like I said, I guess, like I was lucky to go out on a high, I guess. And like when I think about the timing for me, like it is, I don't think it could have been any better. And it was just by chance, but like going out on a high, like winning trophies and stuff. And like you said, what happened post that? Whatever, don't care. But like for me, like I then went straight into like business. It was just keeping my mind busy.
Yeah.
Keeping my mind busy. But like, I do think about, and like I chat to my missus about this all the time. Like what happens, like if this all comes to an end? Like that's when I personally want to be proactive about it. Because of the stats that come out. Like I want to be proactive in sort of looking after my mental state, I guess. But
it ties back into like if rugby is your only thing, or if your work is your only thing, or your job that much your only thing, and you're not putting effort into doing other bits or making yourself in different groups, different circles, or whatever it is, that then the highs are brilliant when they're high, because you're such a tight knit group, or you're so invested in whatever you're doing that it's brilliant. But the lows, I think that's when you come massively unstuck, when like your life is something, and that's not. I'm not saying that your life shouldn't be, say, rugby, or shouldn't be business, but like I think you just got to have an understanding that, or I've found it very useful that, when the lows are quite low, then I can focus, or I can flip onto something and keep myself busy. Like Dom said, that you've got something to vent in another area, but you're kind of stuck. It's just one.
I remember after the World Cup final, George, like you were obviously devastated, and you came back, and then we had a conference in New York. But like every now and then, like I'd catch George, and like he'd obviously just like still coming off the high of like playing in a World Cup final, and then like he'd just go like, oh, for fuck's sake. And like I don't know, like you can obviously go into it more, but you'd be like, obviously like get to that you lost, and then it would hit you. But then like we were obviously on a business trip, so like we were pretty busy. But like I don't know whether that's an occasion where keeping your mind busy was maybe a positive thing.
It is exactly that. Like it's like I could sit and stew. I could have sit and stew for or be very proud still that we made it that far and put in a those performances. But you definitely you could sit and stew over those sort of things. But it's keeping busy and just making sure that there's enough going on, but not spread yourself as well.
Yeah, definitely. What has sport given you guys in a business world? For those people who might not necessarily play professional sport, but just those sports environments, team environments, different social circles, what has that given you in terms of building this business now and working together?
I think the one
There you go.
I think the one I mentioned at the beginning was and something that I know that myself and Dom are quite not proud of, but like quite protective of is the ability to learn or be curious or and ask those questions. Like the amount of meetings or investors or kind of mentors we've been to, and the end feedback is that it's great that you guys are still asking questions, like wanting to learn and not kind of accepted that your word is the one way forward. Like we're quite malleable at the moment because we're eager, but we've still clearly got loads to learn. So
yeah,
I think for us to protect that and to use that, because that's something that as an athlete you constantly told, oh, this isn't good enough, you need to work on this, and then you're on the training field practicing it for the weekend, and then you'll do another review. That kind of whole feedback loop paired up with I think just the ability to work within a team is quite important. And I will speak to some of our employees who are here now, and I quiz them like what it's like maybe when in their other when they're at their other place, and like the fact that they maybe wouldn't speak to some of their team members for 3-4 days, or or dynamic would be quite different. I think we'd be quite strong because of what we've done in the past on skills and on team-based skills and learning, and I think that really does kind of shine through in what we're good at, but also highlights what we're pretty average at as well.
I think like for me though, like when I was playing in Wales and living in Wales, like I hadn't left West Wales for like 25 years. So like I was kind of like I don't know, I've always been like on first approach like quite a quiet person, but when I moved to like Bath and played for Bath, like just being around new people all the time, it kind of, I guess it just taught me like people skills a bit better. And then like obviously went to Japan, Australia and London. But like the crossover between like learning how to deal with like different people is like hugely important, I think, in business, because you like a lot of the time you only get like 5-10 minutes, like, and it is that thing where like to make a first impression, like, and like I think we're quite refreshing for a lot of people because first of all, I think they like to meet like sportsmen, probably more so George Kruis, British Lion, than Dom Day,
Lanty Stag,
West Wales. But like it's I think it's like it's disarming and like people like find it refreshing. Like we went into we got listed in Boots at the start of the year, and like we went in and I think they were expecting like a full-on pitch, but we just went in and just approachable like normal people. Yeah. Like literally wearing our Sarries gear, just like, how's it going? Whereas people usually turn up in like suits and stuff, but like just like chatting away, and like they just loved it. They find it so approachable and like just a different sort of angle, I guess, to business.
There's a human element away from that corporate bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And that does go a long way. You both you mentioned there obviously about leaving Wales and meeting new people, various clubs and stuff. There's quite a thing in the press, I suppose, at the moment. And George, you're going against the grain here by going to Japan in some respects, about players having to play at home, stay there and make the game stronger there. Like, Dom, I know you've been quite vocal on that, but I've never been in that environment. Obviously, I was fucking rubbish, but I like the fact players go and experience new things. I do think it makes people, gives them a broader sense of what the world is like. What's your, not necessarily opinion on it, but do you think that has helped? You're both well-travelled people. There's no real egos there. It's, you kind of see what you get, what you see, and travelling's actually helped that.
I think it is like I think we chatted about it briefly before, but it really pisses me off that players, like, they put the 60 cap rule?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
So you can't, if you leave Wales, you can't play for Wales unless you've got 60 caps, right? Which is just ridiculous, because
how many people actually get to 60 caps?
Well, exactly, yeah. And it's obvious what they're trying to do. Like, it's like they want to keep players there, but like then they're also underpaying players. So like, and this goes back to the whole conversation about like player welfare and like their lives after rugby. So you want to make players choose between like their country and basically like earning a living.
Yeah.
And a lot of players do choose to earn a living and look after like their families and stuff. But then like you go and pay them like not like well under market price, but under market price or less than what they could get elsewhere, which just makes it such a difficult decision for the players themselves. And like
players,
these are.
I was going to say, our players are potentially getting slated because they're picking lifestyle or financial rewards or whatever the reason might be, but they're getting slated then on social media because of that, rather than staying and wearing the jersey. And you're like, well, fuck me, mate. If you work in recruitment and someone in France offered you twice the money for the same job living in Biarritz on the coast, what the fuck would you do?
Well, you know, fuck the keyboard warriors. Like, like at the end of the day, you got to make a decision that's best for you and your family.
Yeah.
Like, and you're exactly right. What are they going to do if like those offers are chucked in their face? Like, you know, who cares? But like the fact that it's like the WRU that are making it difficult. I just think it's unfair. And I can talk from experience because I would never play for Wales if I didn't leave Wales. Like I went to Bath, I became a better person, a better player.
Yeah.
And ended up playing for Wales in the end. And then I got to make a decision as to post that. I then had to make that decision. Do I play in Wales? With potentially get more caps, or do I go away and have an experience and fucking enjoy life? And I chose to go away because I was just like I got to live in Japan for a year and it was fucking awesome. Like it was one of the best experiences of my life. However, I am still gutted that I didn't get more caps because I would have loved to have got more caps. But I like how many players have got to play like Super Rugby and play rugby around the world.
It's a business, I suppose. Now, not you are a commodity, and if you're not going to stay there, someone else will.
Yeah,
New Zealand do it quite well. They so they factor in. They know that Retallick, Whitelock, they know that there's good money to be earned elsewhere, and also they need as in Japan, but also they need a bit of a down season as well. So they'll sit down, from what I've heard, like adults and kind of negotiate and say, look, this is, you can do a sabbatical year here, take a bit of a down season, bolster up your contract a bit, and then, but they'll put that all within like a 2-3 year contract with the centrally contracted New Zealand. So I think that they're like proactive in that sort of sense. They can see that instead of losing players, okay, let's get people on board. Okay, let's understand what they want, give them a bit of a down year as well, and go from there. And it seems to be a model that's successful because 2 years out from a World Cup, they've got all their players that they want to pick from, all there, and that's like that's the reality of it.
Obviously, less games in Japan, body just eases up a little bit, which helps, and then they're all firing fit for like you said, that 2 year cycle either into a Lions or a World Cup. Then what's just before we get back into the business, how's Japan potentially going to affect you, George, for next summer if potentially selected?
Look, I'm going to give you a standard media answer here. I've got to.
That's right, mate.
I've got to play well out here. The man in charge will be looking at all games and looking at across all countries. So I'm fully aware that I'm still playing for what I see as a place, and I'm still massively desperate to go on a tour like that. I understand that I'll probably distance myself a little bit, but again, these are sort of individual things that people have to weigh up, whether that's right for them. And I'm quite obsessed with getting some experiences under my belt. I can't have just grown up in Dorking and in St Albans the whole of my life. So I'm very eager to do.
Mate, you told me it would be a travesty if you didn't go on the tour.
Captain, was it? Captain.
Oh, is there anything else here? Brilliant.
Captain Crusoe. That shot your media answer to shit, innit?
Alan Wynne, who he said?
149 caps.
He's on 150 this weekend, is it?
Yeah, if selected, it must be. Fair play to him. I mean, that's sort of achievement in the second row as well. It's not like he's hanging out in the back playing fucking off-ground touch. You know, he's in the mix there. That's fucking brutal. Yeah,
fair play to him. Massive credit to him. Fair play.
Let's get back to the business a little bit then, just before we finish. What does the future look like for you guys in terms of growth and expansion? You mentioned potential new products, and I know you're looking at different territories.
Yeah, I think for us, again, on the CBD side, we want to get into more retailers, and we've got some good talks, and really, really excited about where we're going with that. Loads of good movement on that side, and then we are starting up another, quite a similar company on the wellness space, and we'll see more of that in the next 3 to 4 weeks. But with that, there's some really good focuses. Firstly, really good quality product, but secondly and thirdly, we're looking at how we can tie in supporting athletes' charities as well as supporting athletes about what we spoke about earlier. Yeah. We see, like I say, and this is something me and Dom are very passionate about, where we see like athletes are in their prime are very well catered for, but before and after, it can be a niggly subject. So yeah, we're going really hard on good quality product and supporting some athletes as well as charities, and that's something a project that we've got going in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we'd love to keep you updated on that. Yeah,
look forward to that, mate. That'd be class. What would you guys? Where can people find you? So you mentioned Boots earlier. Tell us where they can find you on the socials and in the shops or online.
Yeah. So Boots. We're in Boots Cardiff as well.
Go on.
Boots in Cardiff. Get down, have a look, take some pictures, send them over.
It'll be open next Monday.
Oh, yeah.
I'll fly in there.
Oh, perfect. That's good timing. We're in England, I forgot. It's all different.
Yeah.
So social media handles are at FourFive CBD. And then if you head over to our website, fourfivecbd.co.uk. And run a bunch of like smaller retailers as well, but yeah,
that's on the main. Like I said earlier, there's a good blog page where people can find out a lot more about CBD and the movement and what it can do and what it includes. And so I recommend, if you've got any questions, definitely having a look. I forwarded it to a few people who have had questions, and it seems to have helped. So I've got one last little nosy business question, lads. What would you now tell your younger selves? One, just starting out on your professional rugby journey, and then what would you tell them as you were starting this business journey?
All right, so the rugby one, it would be, and this is genuine because this is down to how I feel now, but it would be look after your body,
yeah,
and stretch, because I can't even touch my toes now.
I can't, but that's because my drum's in the way.
Yeah, big dog.
I think back like to the start of my career when I was like, just like the benders used to have every weekend.
Yeah,
and like,
what was his name?
All right, we'll skip to the business one. If I was younger, study maths. Maths is my weakest point, and I'm gonna do a course soon.
Welcome to my TED Talk. Study maths. Nice. George, what's yours, mate? What would you tell yourself started out in rugby, but then knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself, 2 or 3 years ago when you were starting the business?
Rugby, I would say, I think hard work, like, will push past most other things. Like, granted, you might not be like super world class, but if you're working if you work hard, you're going to push past a lot of other stuff. So I think there's a lot of fear around, maybe when you're younger, around like, am I good enough or whatever. I think as long as there's two things: if you're working hard and you want to learn, then you will eventually be there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And then business-wise, some good bit of advice that I got from rugby was just to keep learning. So for me, on the business front, I'd say keep learning.
Love that. Good. Well, across all aspects of life as well, that is, not just sport and business. Anything else from you guys? Anything else you want to say, or anything else going on?
Don't think so, mate. Just everyone stay safe and wash your hands.
Wash your hands. Stay in groups of sixes.
Oh, fucking hell. That's fucking tickling me now.
Well, Boris over here.
Oh, fuck me. No thanks. No thanks. Hey, guys, I really appreciate that. Big thanks to Tiny Rebel Brewery, who provide the beers and non-alcoholic, because I'm going to go back to work now. And big thanks to everyone that subscribes, downloads, rates and reviews. This will be out on Monday, so you'll be hearing that then. Look out for the giveaway that we're doing on our socials, so head over to the Instagram at Catflap Chats. Obviously, look out for the guys at FourFive CBD, find them in Boots. Amazon, you guys are on now as well?
Yeah, we'll be going on soon. Yeah, we've got a couple of products on, but...
Perfect. Get on Amazon for Christmas. And gents, thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Catflap.
No worries.